Hauntcast.
Haunting Halloween and horror.
Interviews with haunting gurus.
Joining Baker in the dungeon is the head caretaker of the Crest Cemetery in Cheektowaga, New York. Give it up for Dan Pitzonka.
Give it up. Dan, what's going on, my man? How you doing?
Hi, Chris. I'm very well. Great to catch up with you.
Yeah, you were on my radar for a long time, and I think I might have reached out to you at some point over the years, and it either fell through the cracks or something happened. We never did this, but here we are. So we got there, man. We got there.
It'll be worth the wait.
So Cheektowaga, is that a section of Buffalo?
Yep, it's a suburb of Buffalo. I'm probably like 15 minutes outside the city, right next to the airport. If you've ever been to Buffalo, or if anybody's familiar.
Been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. My buddy married a girl from Buffalo, and I went out there for the party and festivities and whatnot, the reception. So, but I remember nothing of that.
That'll happen.
Except I think it was the Platinum nightclub across the water, possibly.
Oh, Canada.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, if I remember correctly. Which I brought, which as inebriated as I was, I don't remember correctly. So, all right. So, what motivated you to get into all this haunt craziness?
Oh man, it goes way back. I had to been like 7 years old, maybe between 5 and 10 at least. Started finding random planks of wood in our garage, grabbed a permanent marker, was making tombstones in our front yard, grabbing our winter gloves, sticking a tree branch in them, sticking them in the ground, waiting for my dad to come home, be like, yo, look what I did. This is awesome, ain't it? Yeah, that's cool. And I think after he's seen my interest in that, we started buying little things here and there. And in the early 90s, man, Halloween was awesome with that. What now seems like corny decor, but man, was it awesome back then. And things just grew from there. And it was like after we moved into another house, had a bigger lawn, started to build things together, getting creative, getting other friends involved that, could help us. And man, it blew up. So this year is going to be I think it started in 95. So this would be 30 years of like just home decorating, home haunting.
Yeah. So basically, your dad did kind of enable your passion for decorating and doing the yard, and did he help you out?
Oh yeah, like him and my mom never stopped me, so I just kept doing my thing, and every year it just got bigger and bigger and took up more space and more space, and yeah, we would build things in the summer together. And at the time when I didn't know how to paint, a buddy of mine would come over who was pretty artistic, and he'd do our paintings of like the stonework, things like that. But yeah, it grew into a monster. It sure did over the years. While I build most of the things today, he helps me with the setup and, directs me around jokingly. And then I'm like, yeah, okay. So like, get over here, old man. Let's go. We got things to lift.
Well, if you've been doing this pretty much straight, consistently since 95, you must have seen like the whole kind of haunt scene online develop and everything kind of. Were you aware of anything, or did you just kind of do your thing and were completely oblivious to like when the forums were a thing back in the aughts and, Halloween L and all of those kind of things? Were you involved in any of that?
Yeah, I mean, growing up when I did, I grew up through the age of the internet when things were really popping off. And I was definitely into forums as a teenager. Like I followed the Haunt forums, of course, that everybody knows that one, Haunt World's forums. And there were some other ones I'm sure that are slipping my mind right now. But for the most part, through those early years of doing stuff, I was just kind of doing my own thing, really. For the most part, until locally I got involved with a local haunt up in Buffalo that had been around forever called the Haunted Catacombs. And I think once I got involved with them, volunteering, scaring, I then got the itch to really up my build game and learn the tricks of how to build things, how to scenically paint things, stuff like that.
So they were a pro haunt.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So you got a chance. So you kind of were doing your home thing, and then ended up kind of going in, starting to work, and then you got to see all the behind the scenes. You got to see how things were made, constructed.
Exactly.
You got learned how to scare act and do those kind of things, and all while you're doing your home haunt.
Yep, and it was something because every year I never worked Halloween at the haunt because I'd be at the house.
Yeah.
And they understood. They're like, yeah, they know you're doing your thing up there.
Yeah.
But every year, and like you said, I just learned all the little tricks and different things to do. And I met so many talented people along the way that have passed their knowledge down to me to be able to do what I'm doing now. So really, the stuff like you see now and everybody's seeing took me a long time to get to this point. But I've really honed in on my little craft of what I do here.
Yeah. Is that one of many hobbies that you have, or is this pretty much your hobby?
This is the big one. I love sports. I love our Buffalo Bills right now. Love theme parks, roller coasters, all that kind of stuff. So I look forward to that during the summertime to make some trips, things like that.
Yeah, wait a minute.
But
You do have some kind of another side thing that you do with theme parks and stuff, right? Do you have is it like a YouTube channel, or what is it that you do?
Yeah, it's nothing extravagant, but I put a page together where I just kind of house all my collections of little videos and things like that, places I've been. It's called Theme Park Misfits. It's my blend of love for Halloween and theme parks and roller coasters, and I'm using that channel to put my Halloween videos on, as far as some of my builds, things I've done, my yearly video recap of the display that I'll post. So I just mesh everything together on there.
Well, where's the name Crest Cemetery come from?
So I used to just call my display the cemetery. It was just that, and it was just the cemetery.
Keep it simple, stupid, man.
Yeah, and I don't know what it was. I think I was. I can't pinpoint it exactly, but I do recall just Google searching cemetery names, what's a good cemetery name, and so I somehow stumbled upon the name Oak Crest. I'm like, I dig it. So I went with that, and I put up a little backstory behind it. Never really did much with the backstory. It exists on my Facebook page, but you got to dig deep for it. But the name struck a bell with me, and I just kept it ever since. Because I'm like, you got to have a name that's gonna, be your brand, and that's just what it was.
Yeah. So do you have a quick little snippet of the backstory for us?
Yeah. So basically, this little backstory came together also from my love for theme parks. One thing in particular is Universal's Halloween Horror Nights. They do an event every year. In all their haunted houses they do have such deep stories. I'm like, oh man, I'd love to put a story together for mine. In a nutshell, then, mine was, there was a town in the 1800s that had a cemetery, and there were questionable burial practices that were going on. And the townspeople kind of caught on to things that were going on. There was a family, I think I just used my last name for that family, that were kind of snooping around, figuring out why funky things are going on in the cemetery. Bodies were disappearing, and all of a sudden people started disappearing in the town. The cemetery was growing. Something like that was along the lines that I remember from it. Mm-hmm. And that was really about it. It's just really my focal point is it's the display is about the cemetery that you're experiencing, and the gates have always been closed, but on Halloween night they open up for people to experience.
Mm-hmm. They can walk in and mill around to a certain extent, or what kind of setup is it? It's not a full walk through, right?
So going back to probably 2010, back at my mom and dad's, we had a full-on walk through the front yard. It was a legit path from the driveway to get to the porch to get your candy on Halloween, and then you would exit the rest of this winding path we had built. So it used to be a full-on yard walkthrough in the front yard. When we bought our house here in 2015, I strictly just went to a display only, just viewing from the gates. I made like a little alcove that you could walk past the entryway and just stand in and just kind of observe everything closer. It was never a full walk through here in its current place, but this year I am going a full-on balls to the wall miniature walkthrough on my driveway, through my garage, and a part of my backyard. Everything that was in my front yard that was Oak Crest is going to be now like a live 360-degree immersive experience. I've always wanted to do a mega walkthrough. Call it mega, but it's a mini.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to do it, and I thought, you know what? This is coming up on 30 years. I got to do it. If I'm ever gonna do it, I need to do it now. Commit to it. Make it happen. It's kind of really an experiment to see how it plays out, because so many people have come to know to just come to the house to see the yard. But this year it's going to be completely different. Everything's going to be in the back, and it's going to be, a miniature haunt, basically.
That's cool. And like I said, I did a walkthrough for several years, maybe like 5 years. I don't do it anymore, but like I say, I guess if you've never done it, it's a good experience to do it. And if you have help, I mean, that's the key thing is you need to have people. You need to have a couple of scare actors. You need to have somebody to do flow control to kind of, let small groups of people in, or everything just turns into a conga line. There are certain things to think about, which if you have or not, but it's, that's one of the things I ran into. As long as I had somebody at the front who could kind of let groups come in, and I tried to tell them, hold people back for a few minutes and then let another group through. That way I can reset, because I need to reset each time so I can I can scare the group, every group that comes in. But yeah, that's, sounds like a blast. Now, how many people do you have helping you out with all of it, like the setup? And do you have actors? And how many lunatics have you conned into helping you with this?
You're ready for this one?
Yeah.
I'm a one-man show. I build everything. I set everything up. My dad will help out with the setup and the teardown, but I don't have actors. For so many years, I've done just the display. I look at it more of, it's like an art exhibit, and you're just kind of viewing it.
Yeah.
So like for this year, for this walkthrough that I'm doing, I was on the fence about making some spots for somebody to do some scaring in, but I think I'm eliminating that this year, and I'm just strictly focusing on the immersiveness and the detail that I know I can put on. And maybe if this goes well this year, I can consider making spots to actually put people in next year. This is just truly an experiment this year, not knowing how it's going to turn out. And I've thought about all the different things that come along with, having a miniature haunt, on your property or at your house. Well, just from what I've seen things happen, at the pro haunt I worked for. So I do have that. I've seen how things can go wrong. I see things that go well. That kind of stuff. So there's so many things mulling through my head. Yeah,
are you going to have any pneumatic or animatronic pop-ups or something to get a little startle here and there? Or
yes.
Yeah.
Yep, I got some animations, and at least one scare tactic I got are these triggered speakers that will go off just to kind of startle somebody. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Hidden around. So that's going to kind of be about the extent of it.
Yeah, sound works. Sound is effective. I remember the first year, and I had was one of my first years, and I think I did this for a couple of years. I had almost nothing. I had DJ'd, so I had all this equipment. So I had threw out one of the big loudspeakers under this table. I had it was like my mad scientist table. I had it, kind of covered over so you couldn't see the speaker under the table. And I just had a sound effect, and I would hit it, and it would blast out of the speaker, and people would go freaking tearing out of my mudroom. They'd come in to get the candy, I'd lure them in, and I just hit this freaking speaker. I had another little pop-up thing, like a coffin, sit-up thing, but they got the sound is what scared the shit out of them. So
right,
and it's so funny now that I haven't done that in years, and I'm thinking about that. I'm going, wow, that was actually really I should bring that back, man. That worked, and it's easy because you don't have anything to worry about breaking on you. You plug it in, you fire the sound effect. There you go.
Sometimes the simplest things are the most effective. So yeah, I'd encourage you, bring it back. Do it up again.
Like an air cannon. It's simple. It's simple and ridiculously effective.
Sure.
And you don't have to worry about how good it looks because you can't see it. It's hidden.
Right.
You don't need to see it. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. So it's mainly you're going for like this visual experience of this walkthrough. It's all kind of they get to immerse themselves, enjoy
Absolutely.
the detail, the scene, the setting, the vibe, like the atmosphere of it. That's kind of the thing, right?
A lot of the stuff too that like I would get, because every night doing the front yard, I love just to hang outside and just chat with people coming up that see the house, and just the vibe I get from people just looking out on the sidewalk. The people get uncomfortable just standing there because like as far as the most compliments I get is like, wow, this looks so real. Like I just went to a real cemetery, brought stuff to my front yard. So if I got people just being uncomfortable looking at it, if I can place them in an environment 360 degrees with the kind of stuff that I'm making, with as far as like the sound and the lighting go, I think I'll have people feeling just on edge. So if I sprinkle in some actors the following year, or by chance on Halloween night, maybe I make something happen, no one's gonna know it's coming. So gotta keep them on their toes.
Okay, let's go back to like around 95, 96. What was kind of the haunt like then? Was there what did you have? What did you make? Like, what was some of your first props outside of you making some tombstones? What were some other things that you made back in those days?
We made like a coffin. We made a giant pillar entryway with like wooden gates. We made a bunch of. We weren't using PVC back then. I just bought like 1.5 by 1/2 inch strips of wood, and we made like cemetery fencing that lined the yard. And some of the things we just collected, like really good finds on eBay over the years, and things built up, like the props and whatnot over the years. Like we got some really good scores of some rare stuff that you don't even see nowadays anymore. So it's literally over the years we'd always find a little something to add as far as things go. But like nowadays, some of my more prized things that I really like are some of my distortions pieces, some of the classic tombstone animations, the Innocent Angel that's been discontinued. I drove all the way to North Carolina a few years ago to buy her from Morris Costumes. It's this giant hard-coated maybe 7.5 foot angel with an 8 foot wingspan of wings that go on her back. Oh man, I love that thing. That is like the centerpiece of the cemetery nowadays.
Wait, did Morris selling those, or did they just you have it as a display and that you scored? Is that
had it as a display in their store? It had been down there for like I forget how long. The ladies told me it was there, but it was there for a long, long time. I just on the whim emailed them, didn't know if I get a response saying, "Hey, that little angel up in this photo." I sent the photo from like Google. I said, "Hey, is that thing for sale?" And because I'd really be interested in purchasing it, because I know it's hard to come by. Sure enough, they put me in touch with one of the owners and came to an agreement for me to drive down, pick her up, drove her back home. It's such a cool piece. That's definitely my favorite, I'd say. But yeah, it was just up in the corner of their store on display.
Have you seen one around anywhere out in the wild?
Yeah, there's there's a Distortions fan page on Facebook, and a buddy of mine, Randy Scalos, who lives in Conneaut, Ohio.
Yeah,
man, he's like the wizard of Distortions history and all haunt history props. He's told me there's like only actively 7 out there in the U.S. that he knows of. I have one, he has one, and there's a couple others. It's such a rare prop nowadays. And it's hard to come by. I'm sure I know like Netherworld in Georgia, they have one out in their midway. But it's a very rare and unique piece. It's really cool.
Now, your mausoleum facade that covers the entire front of your house, Is that? I mean, that pretty much does. Right? Is it freestanding, or do you have to secure it to the house due to like the wind and weather? Like, how does that work?
Well, luckily, when I designed that, like we have a ranch, so I was like, well, if I build these flats and these panels, I can have them be like 2 feet from the house where wind is not going to be whipping behind them. So literally, this thing is 16 feet long by 8 feet tall, and like the main walls, and then the roof of the mausoleum goes up another 4 feet, so it's about 12 feet tall at its peak. Luckily, the way the wind whips around here, the house like eats up all that wind, and I've never had a problem with it. But I do put giant stakes into the ground, screw them into the sides of the walls. It's rock solid. That's the thing, obviously, all home hunters just know and love is the windstorms and the rainstorms that you deal with every year. And I've done it so long, I got it down to a science of how I secure my stuff. But it's always it's something that's on the mind, because you just never know what could happen.
Yeah. It's a pretty impressive facade for sure.
Thanks.
Really, yeah.
Actually, too, that facade is going to be in front of the garage, so going into the indoor portion of the mini haunt, that's what people will walk through to get into. So I'm really excited to have that be like an intricate part of the display as well.
Yeah. So it's not going to be in its normal position. It's going to be like moved over so you can go through it into the garage, kind of a thing. Yeah. Are you going to do anything else to cover the face of the house, or like what do you because that's usually always hidden, correct?
So literally, like the front of the house, other than maybe a few things in our garden area, I'm not going to have like any of my normal stuff out in that front yard. I'm taking everything I got and pouring it into the backyard, the inside of the garage, and the driveway for this whole experience. Which is why it's such an experiment. If this doesn't work out, at least I did it, and I know I'll be happy with it. But if I go back to the front yard the following year, so be it.
Now, I noticed one thing I noticed when I was going through the videos. I have the same exact gargoyles on columns in front of the entrance into my driveway. Somebody asked me, they're like, "Oh, where'd you get those gargoyles?" And I'm like, I can't remember where I got them. I think I got them on a website that doesn't exist anymore, but I can't remember what the name of the website was. It was like Halloween something or other mausoleum. I can't remember. Where did you get those? Where did you pick them up?
Well, that's funny you say that, because we found ours on Craigslist locally up here. An old barn haunt in another town not far from here posted a bunch of Halloween props for sale, and my dad sent me the photo. I'm like, hey, we got to go get those right now, because I know those are really good pieces, and like we got them at a really awesome price. This is now like maybe 15 years ago or so, but I think the website, I don't know if this was the main site that sold these. Rubies is the name that rings a bell to me.
Okay, they could have been from originally from Rubies. I just happened to pick them up. I don't think they sold for long, because they're kind of difficult to find. Yeah. I found out this Chris Arnott from a haunt up in Canada has them as well. And I was like, so there are a few of us out there who have them, and mine have gotten kind of knocked over from the wind. Like I had a nor'easter come through and take my columns over, and it broke off like an edge of the wing, but it makes it look even better now, because some of it's like a little bit broken off. Nothing too bad. Nothing I couldn't fix up with a little spray foam and just a little bit more dry lock on it and whatnot, but they've kind of taken a little bit of beating. Not over the last couple of years though. The weather has been pretty good, but they've got knocked around a bit, but they still look amazing. And I get people who ask about them, and then I saw that you had them, and I just started laughing. I'm like, that's awesome. It's good to see. I once again, I can't remember what website I got them from, but I know the website doesn't exist anymore. I know it was one of those sites that had kind of come and gone.
Another one that rings the bell is Mostly Dead. They're not really a thing anymore, but that was a site I remember seeing them on once. upon a time.
Was it Halloween Asylum? It was something that had Halloween in the name and then something else like Asylum or whatever. And I know they're not around because I went looking around to see if the site was there and I couldn't find it. So anyway, what about the epitaphs that you have on the tombstones? I think I noticed there was like Karen Davis, George Connor, Cole Adams. Are these actual people? Where does the epitaph references come from? The names come from?
So about 7 of them maybe. I have about 7 of these tombstones that I purchased from another creator. It's called Evil Soul Studios. I absolutely love their tombstones. I love, giving them my money for their pieces. So those tombstones, a few of them with those epitaphs, those I bought from this company. Love supporting them. I'd encourage anybody to check them out. It was Evil Soul Studios. They make some really awesome tombstones. I don't know if they use a CNC machine to do what they're doing because they're so nice, but they're also reasonably priced for the quality too. But some of them, I don't know where they create those from, if they just yank a name off online and think of a cool thing to put on there. But I'm not like, as far as like the intricate foam with gravestones, I have not delved that deep into making my own. Like I've made my own like giant obliques before and some other pieces, but as far as the intricate details of lettering, I have not gotten into that detail yet because I know it's time consuming to get it just right.
You do have a giant gargoyle that's on top of a monument. I think you sell like a monument, like you can buy it from you or something if you can get contracted. Do you do freelance on some of that stuff?
Yes, I do. Like I don't really have a major website together for it. Like I have it in the works. In fact, I may even have it posted on my Facebook, but I don't think anybody really notices it's there. But I do, have basically a lot of the big things I built. I posted to be like, hey, if anyone's interested, I can build this for you, and kind of go from there or make something custom. Yeah. Like locally, there's a guy that came to visit my house a couple of years ago, and we got to talk, and he's like, hey, I want to do something at my house. Would you be interested in helping me out? He wants to go full like insane asylum theme. So last year we built together a maybe 24 foot long by 16 feet tall insane asylum that covers his whole garage. It's nuts. And this year we're building an expansion together. So I'm totally open to always building things for people if anybody ever wanted to reach out to me. But that one tombstone you're talking about with that giant gargoyle, that was just a custom build that I made for the yard, and that's up there on that little website. And that gargoyle, I don't know who made that, but we got that thing on eBay. It's like a life-size hunched over, I call him the pooping gargoyle because he literally just like squatting. He's constipated. Yeah, he's just squatting up there on that thing.
Yeah. So that thing is huge. What are the rough dimensions on that thing? That thing is looks immense.
Yeah, it's probably got a 2-foot base. If that, like the way it's hunched over, it's probably at least 3.5 feet tall. The wings come on and off. The wingspan's probably about maybe 4 feet, a little bit bigger. Again, I have no idea who made that, where it came from.
Yeah,
I just know we scored that sucker on eBay, and that was the history of that with us.
Yeah. So, what I did notice that you have, I think that you have like a smaller mausoleum or crypt, and you have a projection inside. That. Where was the projection from? Is that one of those Atmos effects, atmosphere, whatever it is?
Yep. That's their stuff's really awesome.
They do some nice stuff. And what do you prefer? I don't know if you've tried different types, but I always hear people talking about what they prefer for projection fabric. What are you using?
So this past year is actually the first year I had a full-on projection in that mini crypt. Before I had this Dom Post witch just hanging up in there under a black light, and This past year was the first year doing the projection effect. So whatever cloth came with the like blow up dummy that they offer is what I'm using right now. So I found it's working well for me. This year I'm gonna have that projection in the garage. I think it'll work the same. It should look just as good, and I won't have to pull the projector in every night because that's something I did last year. I didn't have it set up where it was like locked down. I'd just unplug it, bring it in every night, set it up every single night I wanted to have it running. But yeah, whatever cloth they had on that blow up thing they offer is what I was using. But I know there's a lot of people have different techniques of materials and stuff that they like to use.
Yeah. That's why I asked, because we in our Discord, bunch of people were like throwing all of the things around, like, "Hey, I like this and I like that," and they were like, "What?" You know, I'm like, "Yeah, I do have one in my front window, but you know, I bought it. It was like it was actually specific pro grade rear projection screen, and it was." It was a little expensive, and I'm thinking I probably could do better. And it doesn't fit the whole window perfectly, you know, because it came only in certain dimensions, you know. Yeah. And I was like, it was something ridiculous. I think I remember paying like $200 for it, and I'm like, I don't know why I did, because I did use the white. I was using white, like a white. Shower curtain thing, you know what I mean? But it was always looked too, I don't know, I never liked the look of it. It always looked too bright. And I'm like, I want it to be a little bit darker, especially around the edges, because it's like a big eyeball in the window. So anyway, I haven't experimented. I've been using that and it does look pretty damn good. It's not perfect. I'd like to see if I can do better. So I was just throwing it out there, because I know yours look pretty freaking good. So I was like, I wonder what you're using. So
yeah, and I had my projector was on the outside of that crypt. I built like a little hut for it to stay in, to kind of protect it from the elements a bit. So, and then realistically, if I'm thinking about it, like the distance to had to have been no greater than 10 feet from the archway of the crypt to where the projector was. So I had it set up just enough where it was nice, crisp and clear. It did look very good. But another thing I definitely used inside the house before, a simple white bed sheet at my front window when I had used their like rising ghost effect before. And for whatever reason, for me, the sheet always looked cool as long as all the lights in the house were out, and nothing else was bleeding through. And I had like the DVD player on like a TV tray, so it wasn't like up high, so it was just aiming up. That worked out well for me, but I never really got too crazy experimenting with anything else.
Yeah. What about any of the other like obelisks, statues? Are any of those also are those handmade by you, or pickups that you found, scores that you got on eBay or what have you?
So I could think of the crypt that has my last name on it. That was a custom build. Our front archway is a custom build. The big mausoleum is another one. The oblique with the big hunching gargoyle. Then I do some broken walls just in the back of the display, just to, you know, break up seeing like a tree or the rest of the house. Made it like an above ground crypt with a motor from Fright Props that will like open and close the crypt, like one of those above ground tombs that you'd see in like New Orleans.
Yep.
Something like that. Yeah, like my stuff, it's a mixture of custom made, you know, other artists that I'll support, some big name companies like Beastcraft, and then some old school animations from Distortions, and then just random finds online. I mean, the stuff, I've collected this stuff over the years now, so it's grown quite a bit, and I don't always remember the story of each one because, you know, the years blend together.
What Beastcraft do you have? That the one that the guy's like he's like clung to the wall, or the one that the one that sits on top of the thing and he kind of rocks back and forth. Do you have that one? I see that all the time and go, if I was gonna buy something, that would be the thing I'd buy. I've seen a lot of people make them and show how they're made, you know, like they do a DIY version that looks pretty fucking good, pretty close.
I have the Mystic. It's like a Red Reaper kind of guy. He rotates around, and then I have the Ghost. But there is one Beastcraft piece. I don't have the Crouching Ghoul guy. It is an awesome piece, though. But there is one from Beastcraft that I think they retired it. So if anybody out there listening has any leads on this one, it was called the Forest Spirit. It was like a Wendigo kind of creature holding a lantern. Man, I regret not locking one down years ago when they had them, because it's no longer, they don't make it anymore, I'm pretty certain. But man, something about that piece just I gravitated to, and that's one that got away.
It's intermission time, folks. Make sure to follow and share the audio podcast, and please give us a 5-star review. Also, follow Hauntcast on Instagram at hauntcast.podcast for show updates and visual content such as pictures and tutorial videos, which post daily.
And now, on with the show.
Okay, so for your facades, for the mausoleum, for the like obelisks and the columns and all that stuff, the tombstones. Well, actually, the tombstones were probably already they were already good to go. But all of the handmade custom stuff that you had done, are you coating the foam? Do you use a specific foam coat? Like how do you go about painting, distressing? Like what's your technique?
Sure. So simply I'm using simple Luan plywood, and I'm using 2x3s or 1x1s depending on what piece it is for the framing. Once I have everything framed out that I'm building, I'm just buying the insulation foam from Lowe's or Home Depot in the varying lengths and depths, cutting the pieces that I need to do, distressing them up with a torch gun. And then when I got turned on to using dry lock, I use that stuff on everything, and it's lasted me like 5+ years now, and everything's still holding up super well. Nothing's peeling, nothing's like falling apart. Like I wanted to look into doing that synergy stuff, but I'm like, that'll make it really heavy. So dry lock is my best friend when it comes to handcrafting a lot of the things I do. And then simply the distressing, it's a lot of just watered down paints until I get it to look how I want it. The nice thing is if you mess it up, just spray it down, wash it off, do it again.
Hit it with some water, hit it with some more paint. Yeah, the tea staining stuff is actually so much easier. People make when people are new to this, they think it's so complicated, and it's like really not. It's like any type of paint. It's forgiving. If you don't like the way it came out, throw another base coat over it and start over. If it's that simple. You don't have to worry about it. It's a coat or two of dry lock, tea staining. Maybe stick a little hot glue some moss around the Spanish moss around it or something. Add a little something extra, and done. That's it. Nothing that complicated. And it's amazing.
I'll share a little trick I learned a couple of years ago when it came to like moss. Rather than just like buying patches of it and hot glue and stuff on, one of the tricks I found at Hobby Lobby, they sell like in one of the craft aisles for models. It's like this green. Like grass material that people probably use on like train sets and stuff like that. And I found if you pour that stuff like on a wall panel that's already completed, and you buy some spray glue, pile it on, and then spray glue that stuff, it gets all clumped up and it makes really awesome natural looking moss. It's just a really cool little effect that I just kind of stumbled upon just testing out. I'm like, I dig this. I'm going to do this from here on out. So.
Yeah, because the one problem I had with moss, not the Spanish moss, but with just like the regular green moss, is that does tend to get, it turns brown, maybe it's in the sun, bakes it or whatever, and it seems to like not last to stand up over time. Plus, I think birds grab it and use it to make nests out of. Like it just seems to always disappear. And I know some of it's either from rodents or birds or some shit. And it does tend to fade over time, and it doesn't look so good because I want it to be kind of more green looking. But I'll have to look for that stuff. And what aisle did you say roughly is it? What other materials are in that aisle? I'll go look for it.
It's like in their model craft aisle.
Okay.
Like if you could think of if you went to a hobby store and they had like it's like a tub of that green stuff.
I'll look for it.
On.
Yeah,
I just don't know the name of it.
No, that's fine. It should be easy to find. And I think you're right. I think it's used for making scenery and sets for the model trains. That's what I think. You're right. Well, you've got a lot of movement. You got a lot of creatures and a lot of motorized gadgets and stuff going on there. You've got like the obelisk rocking, skeletons moving. What do you got going on, and what are the basic mechanisms that you're using for your motorized? Like what's your go-to for your motorized props as far as motors or mechanisms?
I'd say using fright props. They just have so much stuff. And I'm not the most like agile person when it comes to the mechanics of things, so it's got to be pretty simple if I'm going to do a project, just something that's like a simple spinning, what do they call them, like a windshield wiper motor or something like that. And putting like the speed dials on there, like I can get down with doing little electric stuff like that, but it's simply those for me. It is something I want to explore more into. Like when it comes, I don't have any pneumatics in my stuff, simply because it was something I never really was hands-on with back at the haunt I worked for. I was more just the building, the scenic things, not so much the animations, but it's something I do want to explore more into and learn about.
The only thing I use pneumatics in my haunt is just pretty much on Halloween night. I drag out a few things to get some startles from the kids or use them as a distraction. But motorized mainly for things that are going to be that I want to have some action over the entire month, because then you don't have to screw with them. With a compressor, you get a compressor out there and the compressor's going off, and you'd be in the house going like out of your mind, like trying to yell, like you and your wife or your girlfriend. What did you say? I can't hear you over the compressor. I couldn't deal with that. But what you're saying is you're kind of like me in that regard. You try to keep it simple. You don't get too bogged down with the motorized stuff. You buy a couple of get a windshield wiper, buy the little potentiometer thing to dial it down, whatever, and you keep it pretty basic.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Is there any other effects that you're using out there, or that get kind of the oohs and ahs? Like, what gets the most attention from your visitors and guests?
Some of the other things I'll use that Perfect Storm machine for the Thunder machine. I'll park a floodlight up in our big tree in the front, and that's directed back to the speaker back by the mausoleum. So that's a cool effect. And I think that's a cool effect everybody, that does an outdoor haunt should have. It's pretty reasonably priced, if I remember. And it's just an awesome thing just to bring another layer of, immersion to your experience. I think if there's one thing that really gets people going with my yard, and I didn't mention this yet, but I just simply bought a mannequin, and I made the Valak nun to put in the yard up by the church, and man, people will just stare at her waiting for her to move like every night. That always probably gets the most oh yeah, I don't like that, the way she's just staring at me. And I always thought it would be funny one night where I yanked in that mannequin. I just slipped that costume on. I just stood out there in the yard with the mask and whatnot, because I bought the mask off Etsy. It was a pretty decent recreation. I put some like yellow eyes behind her that like glow under a black light, and the heavy duty costume from wherever it was I bought it. But the nun gets people really uncomfortable for whatever reason.
You got to do that. Do it. Do it.
Yeah, that might be what I do this year. Maybe I'll have that going on in the backyard.
Everything's amazingly beautifully lit. Everything. I mean, the lighting is spot on. Give us some lighting tips and techniques and tricks or whatever you're doing over there.
Sure. So my lights that I'm using are those like 40 watt. Number one, it's those 40 watt like square LED lights. I have a bunch of them out there. My thing that I found this past year, I think I really honed in on the lighting the best it's ever been. I found to have them not be so bright, because that light will carry. It doesn't need to look like it's, like we're at a club downtown with the bright lights, but as long as you keep it soft, and you stick to like a color palette. Like for me, I was doing my blues and greens like it was the moonlight shining down, and just the angles and playing out with the different shadows, the way the lights would hit different things throughout the yard. I also sprinkle dead trees throughout the whole display too, so like shadows casting for me I think are a big, like I just dig it. I love it, like when I hit that perfect angle. And I'm always angling too from the ground upward. I really don't go like high and like shooting down, so that's what works for me. I also really love gobo lights, and I know they're mad expensive, but I did find a company, I don't want to butcher the name, but I think it's Knabe Lights, Knabe. They sell mini gobo fixtures that you can just, I'm guessing they 3D printed them. You just pop those suckers on their LED lights, and then bam, you got a little gobo light that's, I think it was like only $30 for the cover and maybe 20 for the light, compared to what those like high-end gobo lights do that you see in like theme parks, things like that. Using a bunch of those to cast different shadows and lighting effects on the different props go a long way. Something I really like messing with them. I'd like to buy some more of them this year for the indoor portion of my garage. And then sound, my music, like I'm a big component of the sound and the atmosphere. You got to have a solid soundtrack to back everything up. I simply try to find just ambient music, like of weird sounds, like of just like crickets chirping, wind howling, something just that simple just goes so far, I think, as far as sound goes.
What about, are you mixing that in with music or some kind of a dark ambient droning, or like what are you using for? Is it all just sound effects, or is there something else?
Well, there's a couple different pages on YouTube that I've stumbled across that have like hours of looped, ambient sound, and I'll take a couple ones together, I'll layer them together to get like a even deeper like immersiveness sound effect. I don't have like anything specific to say other than like doing your research into your sound and music is definitely the way to be, because that's just the icing on the cake. I think if you got great lighting and then the sound to go with it, like I said, like just people sitting out front feeling uncomfortable, like, hey, this is
Yeah, you want to creep them out. You want to have them on edge a little bit just by the sound. Yeah, you obviously need whatever sound effects and audio that you're using, whether it's music or just dark ambient doughing soundscape type of thing. You need it to make sense with what your theme is. Like, you're not going to run the carnival theme at your cemetery. You're not going to run the cemetery scene at the asylum. Like, it has to make sense. Things have to kind of have the right sound.
For sure.
I like to do the swamp. My whole thing's got like more of an outdoory swampy type thing. So it's got crickets, it's got frogs chirping, things slithering around, and then whatever funky atmosphere. I try to keep it not so much music. There's so many great Midnight Syndicate tracks and Nox Arcana tracks or this or that. But I find myself liking more of this like nondescript, not much music, just weird, darky soundscape, crazy shit. It really
Very
does put people. Really does kind of put get the hair on the back of people's neck up a little bit.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I used to use back in the day. I'd use a lot of Midnight Syndicate, the Nox Arcana, but over the last couple of years I've gone more into that darkscape kind of just the ambient sound stuff, and man, it just makes such a difference.
Yeah. What about what about that fog fountain that you have? That thing is kick ass. Explain that to me.
So I've always had this fountain. I bought that on Amazon years ago. I can't find that thing anymore. But this year I just went and I bought one of those ultrasonic misters to put in that water, and man, that was so cool. When there was no wind, that stuff would just creep. I wouldn't even have to turn on the fog machine sometimes, it just cased the ground with the mist. So it was just one of those ultrasonic misters that sits in the water. I think it had about 10 of those misting heads on it. Bought that thing on Amazon last year when it was on sale on Prime Day or something like that. Because I always had the fountain going, but I was like, man, I wish there was like mist in there, and just to bring a different vibe to it. And that thing worked out super well. Super cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I have a couple of those things around here that I bought years ago, and I don't think I hadn't used them. Now I'm like, I gotta find a place to. I gotta drag those suckers out, put those to use this year. I didn't know. I think I bought them originally just to put in a cauldron. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's all I bought them for. And I'm like, oh well, I don't have that little setup anymore. And I'm like, oh shit, I could put those out in the yard somewhere. I think I'm gonna have to try to find a place to put those to add a little bit extra fog out there, just during a normal night, even not even just so I can get some fog in there during the course of the month.
You said you have a swamp scene. Do you ever make like a little pool with a liner to put water in?
No,
you could put those suckers in there.
I have not, only because I try to mitigate how much I am doing a lot of damage to my front lawn. So I'm also looking at if I do I used to have this tar creature, and he had all his little minions that were all, and it took up this huge it was just this massive burn hole in my lawn. I had to finally, the prop was awesome. I had to finally get rid of him. It was starting to break apart. I didn't make him the way I should have for longevity, but he was just killing so much of the grass that I had to cut back. I was like, all right, I got to get rid of this thing. That's something I have to think about, is I do so much damage to my front lawn.
But the poor front lawn, man.
I know.
Yeah, us haunters, the home haunters. It's always funny, like watching how long it takes the lawn to repair itself.
Yeah,
after you take it all down.
No, with with like small little areas, like the little square for my obelisk. It's like 2x2 or 3x3. That comes back in not too bad. The crypt is like 3x5 or 4x5 or something, and that kills up most. That's probably the biggest burn in my front yard is from that thing. Now you've got an FC. It's not like your typical FCG, but you have like an FCG type character that's out there, like marionette floating around or something. Do you not? Am I wrong?
I have nothing's floating around, but I'm a sucker for the Crypt Keeper. Obviously, growing up in the '90s, Tales from the Crypt, grew up with that. I have a Crypt Keeper prop out in my yard that I ripped the original audio from like the piece that Spencer sold back in the '90s of the actual actor with his voice. Just downloaded that off YouTube, playing by my prop. That gets a lot of attention. But I have nothing else flying around. I just got the projector in the crypt, and I got that guy.
The Crypt Keeper is pretty badass. Where'd you pick up the Crypt Keeper?
So the Crypt Keeper, I never got my hands on one of the original ones because they're just mad expensive and hard to come across. So Spirit, 2 years ago now, they came out with they remade their Crypt Keeper, and I said, all right, I know it's a Spirit prop, but I'm going to buy this thing because, well, number one, I actually do work for Spencer's, so I get a discount at Spirit. I manage a Spencer's store, so I said, I'm going to get my discount, so I got to get one. But I did not, when I built him, I built a PVC body for him, and I built a custom costume for him because I did not like what they did with him otherwise. So he's standing about 3.5 feet tall, and he just kind of oversees the yard with his head turning animation. It's something really simple, but I couldn't pass up grabbing one just because I've always wanted to have one. So it's like, I got to go for it and just do it.
So what are you doing new? What's new for 2025? Just the walkthrough is the main thing. You're not building anything new. You're just kind of rearranging. everything, or what are you doing will be totally new for this year?
So basically, the inside of my garage is what's going to be completely new. Like, I'm full on going, like, wall panels that I'm going to doll up and dress up like my crypts and mausoleums. So it's going to feel like you're walking through a cemetery. I have, like, a hallway portion with some gothic-y windows that you'll be able to kind of peer out into the cemetery as you're walking by. And shout out to John from Dark Acres. Just linked up with him over the weekend. He cut me out some foam windows with his CNC machine that look badass. I got them drying right now out in the garage. I put them up today. So really a lot of the inside of the garage, like these walls and whatnot, are going to be kind of what's new for this year that I'm putting my time into. And I'm really just kind of debating right now of when do I start putting up stuff on the driveway, because I got to yank things out of the garage still. And it's like I don't want to wait too long, but I don't want to start too early. So I'm just really kind of hemming and hawing on when I want to start, like, erecting everything, because once it's up, it's going to stay up, now through Halloween.
Yeah. I always do it like the second week in September. I start putting things out. Mm-hmm. And I don't do anything too crazy. Like the first weekend I start setting up, it's like my Halloween tree goes up, all the pumpkins I make sure the pumpkins are lit, the trees, like the witch jars are hanging out of the tree. Throw my Meyer man, I call them, out there, and I start putting out some things just to kind of get things going. And then after that, then I go by the next weekend I'm full bore, and I'm just trying to get everything out as fast as possible. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's a slow build.
Yeah.
Same here. You just put out the fence first and start to sprinkle things. And
people like to see. There are people, I don't know. Do you ever have neighbors tell you, or people in the area who come by and go, "Yeah, I like to come by every day and see it like build, start to see it grow."
Very much so. Yeah. There's a couple of kids on the street that, like young kids, that come around with their parents, and they're like, "Yeah, we come by every day to see what's added and what's new." Yeah, definitely, that's a big thing. And funny enough, one of my neighbors said, because I basically have used up every square inch of the front lawn, like as of last year, and he always says jokingly, "Well, if you want to expand to my yard, you can." And I'm like, "Don't tease me, because I'll do it." And I could, but I'm opting to go to the miniature walkthrough in the backyard this year. So.
Are you only open on Halloween night?
It's going to be weird this year because, like, the stuff's not going to be out front like it had been in the past. But I do plan to, once I'm, like, 100% good and happy with it, I do plan to do a couple nights prior to Halloween. It's not just going to be Halloween and that's it. So I had to figure out, it's probably going to be the weekends for, like, a couple hours, and as we approach Halloween, maybe a couple weeknights just to play it out. But I don't know what to expect, though. I don't know if people will, show up for it or not. I am going to do some light promoting of it, like, hey, free haunted house to come check out. But like I said, it's all going to be a wild experiment this year to see how things work out.
How crazy is it on Halloween night? Do you count how many people show up, how many kids, how many candy bags, or whatever you give out?
I wish I had it in me to be able to count I'm jealous of the people that do. Like, yeah, we had like 700-800 people, 1,000 people come through. I'm like, wow. I don't I'm already running around making sure everything's still running good, things like that, filling foggers up. So I don't get to take that in. Like, I see them people coming around, but I'm just like in my own universe. Just like making sure everything's looking good.
So over 1,000?
No, it's probably under, honestly.
Yeah?
It's a couple hundred, but it's nothing too crazy.
All right. Anything else? Any other tips, tricks, tactics, little nuggets that you can throw our way before we let you go?
Man, I mean, obviously it takes a long time to get to the point that, I'm at with my stuff. So, if you ever think you want to really expand on what you're doing, really write out what you want to do and then accomplish what you can, and don't be upset if you can't do it all, because, you're never going to get to everything that you want, because time is a thief. It goes by so fast. And just got to narrow down and hunker down on what you want at the end of the day. But if anybody ever wants to message me, you know, I'm open to talking. You can hit me up on my Facebook page, my Instagram page. You know, just you know, reach out. You know, I'll talk with anybody.
Awesome. But you know what? Promote all your socials. Promote, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Sure. So on Facebook and Instagram, you'll find it's Oak Crest Cemetery Home Haunt. You'll find me on both those platforms. I did the TikTok thing for a bit. It's kind of stopped. But really, I run off of Facebook, Instagram, and then my YouTube page, which is Theme Park Misfits. Search that and you'll come across me on there, and you can see the videos of the last few years of my display, some of my build videos that I put together as well, to give you some insight to how I go about doing what I do. But I'm probably the most active on Instagram and Facebook, though. Those are the best ways to reach me and communicate with me.
All right, Dan. I hope you have a rockin' spooky season. Good luck with the garage and the backyard walkthrough. Kick some ass out there.
Yeah.
You know, and make sure you don't be a stranger. I'll see you in Discord, right? You're in the Discord now, so make sure. And
yes, I am.
Yeah, and if you're out there and you're a haunter and you want to get into our haunt club, you can find us on Discord. Anyway, Dan, appreciate it, and
of course,
and we will catch you around the net.
Thanks, appreciate the opportunity.
Please like, subscribe, comment, give us a 5-star review, share with friends, and buy us a beer if you see us out in the wild. Follow us on Instagram at hauntcast.podcast for show updates, as well as more pictures and video content. Join the Hauntcast Haunt Club on Discord, with live streams bi-weekly. Also, like and follow our Hauntcast Facebook page. Listen to the entire back catalog of our audio podcasts, available on all podcast platforms, with over 550 segments now available. Until next time, stay scary.
I got to warn you, you're doomed to stay. Go. Go.